friend of mine has on his email a line that says, "We are not human beings trying to become spiritual. We are spiritual beings trying to become human." Whether you agree with that or don't agree with that, there's no questioning the level of involvement we have, demand, struggle with our human nature. It seems to be instructive. It seems to have purpose. It seems to have a kind of evolving, elevating nature that we are learning as we go, improving, attaining more, or not. But there does seem to be some directionality to it and some purpose and meaning. Take that all away, purpose and meaning, and we're still here. We're still doing it. And I think it's pretty clear from anybody who's been around for a while that this is not exactly easy. As I reference my grandchildren every week, usually, I'm watching it very closely now from the youngest age to this older person I've become, and I don't see a lot of difference. It's still full of struggle and demand. And I think a lot of people spend their life trying to work their way out of struggle and demand, or to find a place of comfort and peace. My granddaughter is so honest with it all that we had a dinner party last night and she just went and locked herself in her room. She didn't have to deal with all that stuff. She was sitting, I walked in there, she was playing. She said, "I love you so much, now leave me alone." And it was so real and so completely honest. And my grandson would come over and go, "I love you." And he would want to fight. He loves fighting. But it would go from "I love you" to fight. And there was no rhyme or reason to how that worked. It just is part of the equation. Most of us, quite honestly, don't know how we work. Most of us don't know who we are. We are thrown into this strange biological configuration, and then we spend most of our life trying to figure out either how to fix it, how to make it work better, or how to get out of it. But we're all in some kind of interaction with this human experience and trying to give it directionality, trying to give it meaning, trying to give it purpose, thinking that that ennobles it in some way. If I were to take purpose and meaning away from life, what would you do with it? What would you do with your day if it didn't have some evolving quality? What would you be seeking? What would be your reason for getting up in the morning? What would you do with your day? Take all that away. And it would be interesting almost to find out who am I without some sense that this leads somewhere? That there's some advantage to having gone through it, becoming a better person, becoming a this or that. What is it? There is no really good answer for that. And you can create any answer you want. But my experience in the meditative journey was trying to get somewhere, and then of course realizing that the place I'm trying to get to I've always been at. It's never been anywhere but here. It's never been anywhere but in this exact configuration that I'm in. That this moment that I have attracted or that I have constructed or that I find myself living in is the absolute expression of something that wants to be, that wants to exist, and that the apparent image of it is I am at the center of that, although I know pretty factually that I'm not, because I look at all of you, and each of you think you're the center of it, so one of us is right and one of us is wrong, or we're all wrong, or we're all right. And none of it makes sense, really, because how can we each be the center when we're all at different places? But there is some enormous sense of this is what is. And there is, for almost everybody, a kind of profound discomfort with that. We have moments of going, this feels good. You know, I mean, I know people, you have a couple drinks, it feels good. I'm comfortable. Have a nice meditation. Sweet. Someone loves you. And in a way, there's some truth to that. There is some truth to the fact that if you really relax inside and stop trying to make this moment into something, you discover what it is. You discover what this moment already is. And it is about you and not about you. You're a part of it, and in some fundamental way, you are the totality of it. And it makes no cognitive sense, but it's somehow reassuring. This is. The only thing that really disturbs it, other than your generalized discomforts, is the existential fact that at some point it won't be. At some point there will be none of this. Or at least that's what your mind tells you. If you watch enough movies or human life, you see that it has beginning, middle, and end. And you are part of that journey. And that journey is one that, for those who get attached to this world of manifested being, a journey that doesn't end well. Because they're going to rip you out of here. Not happily, usually, not comfortably. And you will have to somehow make peace with that down the road. And most of us keep pushing that down the road, because I'll make peace with it tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. You don't want to have to make peace with impermanence. Most of us want to take impermanence as a philosophical idea, a Buddhist teaching, but real impermanence, in fact, is happening every instant of your life. This very second is already gone. What I've discovered in the expansion of awareness that's called awakening is that the impermanence of your own personal being begins to dissolve into the impermanence of all being. And you start to feel what I will call a profound nostalgia for every second of being. A profound nostalgia for now. The very thing that you are loving is slipping through your fingers as you are loving it. The enormous poignancy and preciousness of this moment is passing. when I hug my grandchildren, and I know I reference them endlessly, but I hug them with so much love, knowing this could be the last time ever. This world's impermanence seems to be more reflected in some way by cultural events right now, but the spiritual journey is a journey into knowing this is temporary and therefore so beautiful and poignant, and everything about it becomes magnified in its poignancy when you realize it's going away. It really gets magnified when you have to give it away, when you have to move on from something, when change occurs. Blanche and I have been in the middle of a Sophie's Choice kind of drama. I haven't spoken about it publicly very much, but I think some of you are aware of it. You know, our accountant said, you are in a retirement. In retirement, you cannot have two homes. You have to have one home. Interesting choice. I love both of my homes. Now, I know in the larger scheme of things in the universe, that's not a problem most people have to deal with. You would think it's like, oh my God, rich person's problem. But everyone has issues that are real and involve choice and involve human discomfort. I don't know what home I should get rid of. I want them both. If I were given a choice, I might gear more toward one, and my wife gears more toward the other. So we've come into this thing of let's just find another house, and we won't have to make the choice. We'll go somewhere else. And so we've begun this journey of looking for another place to live. But wherever that will be, based on retirement, is going to be smaller, more compressed, and less than what we currently have, which means we have to begin to get rid of our stuff. Again, this is not new to many people. There are a lot of retirees and a lot of people out there who know exactly what I'm talking about, some of whom do it with great detachment. Nope, 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 get rid of it, get rid of it. I am not that person. I am in love with everything. And I tell you that as part of my human failing, and to give you purpose and reason to stop listening to me. Because why should you listen to a guy teaching spiritual anything who's completely attached to everything and everyone in his life, who loves it all? The curse of spiritual expansion or awakening is that you're no longer just involved in your own private little space, but you're involved in everything. You feel everyone's attachments, but it doesn't absolve you of feeling your own attachments. And you start to understand the primacy of this journey and why everything is so powerful. And I've talked a little bit about an ashtray downstairs in the kitchen that belonged to Blanche's dad that advertised his company on Sunrise Highway. What's the city? I keep saying Hempstead, but it wasn't. Baldwin, New York. It just sits there. It's been sitting on the counter for forever. And I just started looking at it the other day, and I just almost broke into tears. It was so much it's what remains of my father-in-law. My father-in-law was one of the sweetest, most unbelievably kind-hearted beings I have ever met. He built a company that supported his wife, his children. He had 4 children and 2 died. He had to live through the loss of 2 young boys. He raised 2 women, 2 girls. He had a beautiful, hard, struggling life. I was with him on his deathbed, one of the few times I've ever actually been with somebody as they died, and I was with him helping him through this death process, which was an amazing experience for me. Amazing. His body was trembling, and I decided to take him on a journey onto a boat that he used to own, out onto the water, into still water, seeing an island far in the distance and knowing he was crossing to another shore. And I helped him make that journey, and he held my hand during all of this. And as he was crossing over this beautiful, sun-filled, sun-drenched waterway, his body started relaxing, quieter and quieter. He stopped shaking, his feet stopped shaking, his legs were no longer trembling. I could feel this stillness moving up his whole body and moving up into his head. And he was holding my hand, and I was feeling such love for him. And then I thought, oh my God, he's leaving. He's leaving. And I've never been with anybody leaving, and so I didn't know what exactly to do, and I just started doing the Lord's Prayer. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And he seemed so expanded by that, so relaxed by it. And these breaths he was taking started to get strange. They got long with these little inhalations. And I watched that, and I was going, oh my God, he's leaving. And I didn't know what to say or do, and I got really quiet. And then I said, basically, God bless, Godspeed, God loves you. And as I said, God loves you, out he went, and there was no breath that came back. And I had just helped somebody to die. I'm looking at the ashtray, sitting on the counter in my house. It's been there from the beginning, here, and it's invested in every moment of that. And I am filled with sadness, grief, beauty, love, joy, amazement, for how all of that is contained in a piece of glass with a little inscription for his, he had a shop that made awnings and, what do you call them? Venetian blinds. And it's all right there. A simple, humble life. A man who had and who lost, and all of this in an ashtray. And for me, everything is like that. Every one of you is like that. Every one of you has such profound richness to me. I sit with you and I feel so much love and attachment. Attachment. I care about you guys. I care about you. I care about you more than you do. Because I don't struggle in my caring, and you struggle. You judge yourself. I don't judge you. I just love you. And this I is not Bruce. It's not a Bruce thing. It comes through Bruce, but it is so much bigger. It is the very thing that manifests Bruce and you, loving itself. And it is so exquisitely beautiful. And I am in attached mode. I want to hold you to the last moment of time. And I can't. I have to begin to get rid of that ashtray. I have to get rid of all of this furniture at some point. And every piece of furniture has history. Truly history. I mean, a lot of the furniture we have here we bought for the New York house, and a lot of it was like old, from like the 16th, 17th century. I mean, it has literal history. And Rudy, you know, he had this ability to hold an object and know who created it and know its journey. Just an object, and he used to be able to do that. I don't have that gift exactly, but I do know that the chairs some of you are sitting in, I remember the moment they were bought. I remember the whole history of their kind of creation to the best of my ability to know that. They are precious. What am I going to do? Just toss them in the garbage? Probably, in some way. Give them away? Probably. Sell them? Maybe. The letting go of life, the letting go of the story, the letting go of the physicality, of the reality of life is so potent. It's so invested in everything we are about. I understand the word detachment, and I understand why a lot of people who have spiritual growth are imagining themselves as detached. But I think that's not a gain. I think being detached or disassociated is a loss. I think somehow or another, having, holding, loving nostalgia for the very thing you have is so beautiful. Yes, it will all be gone, but better to let go of something you've loved than something you decided not to care about. Don't need that. You can do that. It's fine. Let go of everything in any way you can. Yes, we will let go. But I will tell you from my perspective of spiritual journey, I love this life. I love what I have. I love what I have acquired, and I will love it until the moment it is liberated and gone. I will love all of you until the very last breath, and maybe way beyond that. I really will carry that. And I don't think that's a bad thing. If we are nothing on some level, that means we're no thing, but we exist. There's a something. If we are nothing, we are also in some way everything. You can identify in any part of that spectrum that you want, or you can just absorb the whole spectrum, which is I am all and I am nothing simultaneously. The human struggle is to embrace that, to embrace totality, to embrace your being, whatever that may be that you find it to be. I am caught in struggle. I am feeling attachment and detachment. I am feeling all of these choices, and they are the choices of every human being. We all have to make them. We make choices all the time, often ones we don't like, often ones we don't want to make, and often they pull us apart in so many ways. I will be an advocate for being pulled apart. I'm an advocate for saying, take it all, but you're going to take my heart with it. It's just the way it is for me. And I find a certain human beauty in that. That's the road we are all on. And I watch every one of you and everyone I know dancing with that. How do I deal with loss? How do I deal with ultimate grief? How do I deal with having to give up everything that I love? Somehow or another, that is not a human being trying to be spiritual. That is a spiritual being trying to be human. The lessons of this are so fundamental that there is a reason it appears to me that the ineffable reality of being wants to learn what it is through us. It wants to learn its own ephemeral nature through our experience of losing it, of having it and losing it. That's what it's here for. And we are these strange amalgamations of feelings and hopes and despairs and joys and miseries. We are that, all trying to figure out what is this unbelievably delicious, terrifying, real, unreal, beautiful, ugly truth that we exist in. What is it? No answer. No answer. I have no answer. But I know, as do you, you're in it. You are it. And you are learning, in a sense, to be it for something greater than your own personal enjoyment or misery. You are learning it for something that really profoundly appreciates your being embodied in a world that needs to be observed by you. That's an incredible thing. You are a spiritual awareness taking form for the sake of that awareness, to embody and taste and touch and feel and go through it. And you all make mistakes, and we're all given these incredible, powerful choices that really aggravate it, that really get to the core of it, because in the end, we have to let it go. We have to let go this nostalgic love for the very thing we have been allowing ourselves to embrace. We have to let it go. And that's the great teaching and the great suffering of the human experience. Those people who want to have a spiritual life to transcend all that, great. God bless. Good luck. There are people who do. I have met people who do. They have transcended it all. Not touched by this. They have found their way into still-pointedness and detachment that barely looks human. And my feeling is, great. Great. It's a hard sell, however. Maybe not. I personally thought at one point that this spiritual journey would lead me into a kind of empowerment, a kind of detachment, a kind of perennial bliss and joy that I wouldn't ever have to suffer again. And I discovered I've moved beyond the Bruce suffering, but I've gotten to the human suffering that we all share. And because we share it, I can look at you and hug you and know that we are touching the same nostalgia, the same feelings, the same fears, the same doubts. And I also know, and this is one of the great gifts of spiritual practice, that in the end, we are spiritual beings learning to be human. And when the human part is over, the ocean of being that we have come from reabsorbs us into itself. That may just be my story. I don't pretend to know the truth, but it feels that way. It just feels that way. And the way it feels that way is when I give you a hug, or when I hug my grandchildren or my wife, when there are these moments of such profound tenderness that the holding tells you this will not last. This is now and forever. You just have to have it now and let it go. And it's the letting it go where it really reverberates into infinity. This is the amazing thing about being human. I wish you could all hug my grandchildren with me, because I cannot express the unbelievable beauty of that, the unbelievable beauty of that hug. But it's not unlike the beauty of hugging you, truly, truly. Each of you, the hugging of you has the same quality. It's just you're further along the ride. You know, I don't have as much investment in the unfolding of this being. You're all doing fine as far as I can tell. I know you don't all feel that, but you are really all doing fine. But I really admire the fact that you still are here, that you are reaching for a deeper version of this, that you are reaching into the nostalgia of being, and that out of that you will have richer, happier, more embraced lives, and you will share that with other people, and you will be a gift to the world around you. That's the journey. That's the journey. And I think we are so lucky to at least be aware of it, because I know many people who are here, no cognition of that. It's just, you know, have a job, get laid, get ice cream, have whatever it is, whatever your thing is, that's your thing, and then it's over, and you go, whoa, this will not be that for you. It will not be that. You're already on a ride of great magnitude and of great nostalgic power. And you will find, I think, as I have, that every second of your life has a preciousness that is unbearably beautiful, unbearably beautiful. If you can put it into words, then you can be a poet. If you can put it into music, you'll be a composer. But if you can just put it into living, you'll be a good person walking down the street and sending a kind of gift of love and joy and simplicity and openness and acceptance into the atmosphere. And believe me, people will feel it and know it. They will know you were there. They won't know you, but they'll know you were there. So, again, I don't know if anything I'm saying is true, but this idea of being a spiritual entity learning to be human seems to kind of get at it. And I think we're all doing it to one degree or another, maybe getting better at it, maybe not. it almost doesn't matter, because somehow or another you're doing it, whether you like it or don't like it, whether you understand it or don't understand it. Part of the human journey is often not understanding it, not getting to the core. Who knows? Who knows? But you're in it, and if you can have that one little bit of cognition that goes, okay, here I am. Or my mother-in-law's beautiful final statement in life. That's what it comes down to. Here we are. You know, she forgot all the struggle. She forgot all the people she hated, all the people who did her wrong. She just went, her mind was gone, and she was totally beautiful, childlike. We're all going in that direction. So enjoy the ride. And to the degree that it helps to sit still and share in this, then we'll do it. If it doesn't help, don't come. You know, but my experience is that the sharing of this, that's the best part. It's the best part of the journey. Being with people who go, I get it. We get it. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for sharing. I will continue my journey with you as we go along. And for those of you who think it's too human and not spiritual enough, or not awake enough, or not enlightened enough, or whatever, you know, there are beings you can go to who are awake and enlightened who will inspire you. I would only tell you, I think we're onto something really massive here, being human. It's worth it. Any questions?